Hello everybody and welcome to the Fandom Show's exclusive video review of Joker starring Joaquin Phoenix. Okay, so first of all, I want to say this is not a children's movie. Do not take your kids to see this movie, okay? It's not a PG-13 movie, it's rated R, and it's rated R for good reason. Also, it's not a comic book movie in the traditional sense. I mean, yes, it's based on a comic book character, and it has many themes that are common in a lot of comic books, but if you go into this expecting a Marvel-style movie with like vehicle chases and explosions and zippy one-liners and fights with 15 guys on the screen at once, you're going to be disappointed because that's not what this is. Joker is a very dark, depressing, visceral, psychological movie that's a lot similar to old school movies like Taxi Driver, or even something more recent like Insomnia or 1 Hour Photo, than a traditional comic book movie. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. It's just very different than we're used to. So do go into it with an open mind, but also not under the impression that it's going to be similar to other Batman movies or Marvel movies or other comic book movies. It is very different. It is its own thing. Take it as such. Without giving away any spoilers, I'll just say that the stairs scene is awesome. Joaquin Phoenix puts in a very, very strong performance as the Joker. There's not a lot of actors out there who could pull off a convincing Joker, but Phoenix does an absolutely wonderful job. Now, he's, of course, used to playing mentally disturbed, kind of twisted characters, so he was a perfect fit to begin with, but he does a really excellent job in getting into this character's head and delivering what I believe is a very unique take on the character. Now, you should be aware that despite the fact that it is a Joker movie, and in the past, the movies that have shown the Joker have shown his kind of twisted comedic side, and there have been a few laughs. There's not that much funny stuff in Joker. I kind of wish there was a little bit more, but overall it is a very serious and dark movie, so it's not any kind of, even a dark, twisted comedy in any sense of the word. One thing about it is that the Joker is presented as really what he is, which is a dark, twisted, psychotic individual. This is not a character that we're meant to feel sympathy for. This is not a character that we're meant to understand. This is a character who's supposed to anger us and frustrate us and really not make us cheer in any way, shape, or form. He's a villain, he's a bad guy, and he's presented as such in the movie. There's several situations in which he could respond in the way a decent human being was, and he doesn't. Because he's not a decent human being, he's a psychotic Joker. I mean, pretty straightforward, right? Another thing in the movie is give it time. There's a slow burn on the film from the beginning to when he actually goes full on Joker, but after it crosses that point, it gets a lot cooler. So there's some spots in the middle where it kind of drags a little bit, but don't worry about that. Just keep watching. It does get better. The last 30 minutes or so are really quite fascinating. Joaquin did a great job, but we all know who's the best Joker, right? I did want to take a moment and address some of the political issues that have come up around this movie. It's reported in advance of the premiere that there were worries about possible mass shooters who would be inspired by this film. I think that anybody who's driven to violence by this movie probably already had a predilection for violence. The movie really isn't that violent, and the Joker directly in the film is presented as apolitical. He says straight up in the movie that he has no political goals. He didn't want to start a political movement. He's just a crazy, jacked up guy that loves to screw with people. So I think the whole controversy was a little overblown and probably unnecessary. Switching gears, I think, as I said, that Joaquin Phoenix is a good actor to play the Joker. The wonderful thing about playing the Joker as an actor is that in the comics, the Joker's backstory is undefined. And one of his traits is that he's zany and unpredictable. So for an actor, the Joker can be whatever they want it to be. It's a role that affords an actor a lot more creative freedom than he might otherwise have on a movie set. And so that's why he's been a personal favorite character of a lot of the actors that have played him. Interestingly, before Joaquin Phoenix came into the mix on this new movie, the guy the studio wanted was Leonardo DiCaprio. Now, I know some of you are probably like, oh man, I can't imagine Leo as the Joker. I disagree. DiCaprio is an excellent actor, and I think he can put a very interesting spin on that character. Maybe something we'll see in the future, I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm down for it. So, final thoughts, I give the movie about a 7 out of 10. It wasn't perfect. It was very good. Again, make sure you go into it in the sense that it's not a traditional comic book movie. It's a lot more dramatic. As I said, it's a lot more of a slow burn. There's no huge action sequences. But if you go in with the correct expectations, I think it's a very good way to spend 2 hours. Also, the cinematography in this movie is outstanding. And that wraps up our video review of Joker. I'll be heading back to the cinema this week to check out the 35th anniversary edition of Ghostbusters, heading into my first ever Ghostbusters episode in a couple of weeks, just in time for Halloween. It's going to be a lot of fun. Be sure to check it out. Thanks, you guys, and have a good night.